It's time to draft our trousers. In my last video, I explained to you how to take your measurements and how to calculate everything we need for this video today. If you have missed it, definitely check out this video and then come back to here. If you don't want to calculate everything on your own, I have linked the spreadsheet down below, so it does it automatically for you. But be aware, the measurements in the table are average sizes, and it might be that you need to adjust some things. And because I already have a standard pattern, I asked one of my TikTok followers today to send me over her measurements, and I'm going to use her measurements to draft the pair of trousers. If you also want to use your lucky chance, I'm going to draft one more pattern for one of my followers. Simply comment down below that you want to take part in the raffle, and in the next weeks I'm going to draw your standard pair of trouser patterns and I'm going to send it over to you. So let me know if you want to take part in the raffle. And without further ado, let's hop right into the pattern drafting. Today we're drafting a pair of trousers. I decided to do it digitally so that you can see it better, because I failed trying to film something on paper and it got too messy, so I now decided to do it digitally and show you the drafting process like this. Today we are working with Terry's measurements. She is one of my TikTok followers and she donated her measurements for this video. And first thing we are going to do, we are going to draw a straight line onto our paper. In Terry's case, that's 112 centimeters, and this straight line is the side of our leg, measurement number 1. You can draw it in with an L-shaped ruler. Then afterwards, we are going to draw in our sitting height, which will be 25 centimeters for Terry, and for you guys it is the measurement that you noted on the point number 2. Then we are going to take our knee height, which is point number 4. In Terry's case, that's 34.8 centimeters. And at the bottom, we're drawing a line for the end of our seam. You can add 0 to 4 centimeters if you want to have it a bit longer, but I'm adding 0 centimeters at the bottom of the seam here, simply because I don't think we need that much. Then we are drawing in the hip line. If you haven't measured your hip line, you can calculate it as well. The calculation for your hip line is basically going to write it. It's your hip divided by 20 and then plus 3 centimeters. And in Terry's case, that is 9.05. So we're drawing in a line from here, 9.05 centimeters above. And there we have our hip line. And now we are going to lower our waistline. That's point number 7. And we're going to subtract that from here, from this edge. In my case, it's around about 1 centimeter. Now we are going to draw in our trouser width and are also drawing in our crotch addition. So that's measurement 5 and 6. Terry's measurements are 29.25 under measurement number 5. Then we are going to draw in the crotch addition, which is in Terry's case 6.5. That's measurement number 6. Then we're drawing in our front fold, which is measurement number 8. The front fold sits in the middle, which means it is 17.9 in Terry's case. We can take our leg with construction measurements. In Terry's case, that's 9.25. And we are going to draw that in from this middle line. Drawing in a line here, and that line we are connecting with our hip line, and we're drawing in a line here, which we are connecting with this point that we generated, and we're now adding a straight line of 4 centimeters at the bottom so that the trousers fit a bit nicer. Then we are reducing our hip by what's written in point number 10, waist construction measurements, which is in Terry's case 0.5. And then we are drawing in a curve to make it fit a bit nicer. You can do that with your French curve. And then we are drawing in the curve. For that, we need to take the measurement in between here, in between these 2 points, basically where our leg line hits our crotch addition. We need to measure that. So from here to there, that's 52.5 or 52. And then we divide that by 2, which is 2.6 centimeters. And we're going to draw a line at 2.6 centimeters here. Basically here. And we're drawing a line from this bottom point to this point here. Simply a line to help us later to draw in a nice curve up to there. Especially if you draft on paper, it's easier. If you have a helping line here on the computer, it will be way easier. So we're doing our curve. Now we are going to take our measurement number 11 that we calculated. We are going to measure from this point at the bottom here up to the line, and in Terry's case it's 26 centimeters. measurement number 11 that we calculated. I'm going to lengthen this line. Now we can draw in our dart, and that depends on your construction measurements. And we are going to need the front dart distance first, because here I need to add 0.5 milliliters to the side. It's really tiny, because we're moving it because of the hip rounding. I calculated in a dart of 2 centimeters, so I need to take 1 centimeter at each side. And then we're drafting 2 lines from this point. Now we need to check if the dot lines are actually the same size. You also need to measure that with your ruler. Otherwise, we need to adapt them a tiny bit. 100 and yeah, it's alright. As long as they're more or less the same length, you will be fine. And now we are going to draw in a hip curve. For that you can use a hip curve ruler, and you can adapt it depending on your hip line. For everyone it's different. I'm now taking a more or less normal hip line, but it really depends. It's also a point you can always adapt when sewing your first mock-up. Then we are taking in, I would say, 0.5 centimeter here at the knee line, and we're going to draw down a curve. And we're taking that line in so it has a nicer fit around your knee as well. So now we are taking in that line a tiny bit, drawing a slight curve in. Now we're going to do that for the other side as well. And we will adapt this curve a bit on the hip area, simply because it looks a bit nicer. And now we have finished our front pair of trousers. Now we need to copy the front part of the pair of trousers. So you cut it out and simply copy it over again. And we are now constructing the back part of the trousers. And for that we need our measurement number 14, back fold construction measurements, which is 2 centimeters. And you can see here at our front fold, this point on our hip line, and we are going to move that by 2 centimeters. So I zoom in, and I'm going to draw a point at 2 centimeters. So I'm going to take rectangle again to help me find the point. Then I'm going to zoom out again. And we are now drawing a line from here to the knee line. So we are adding a new line from here to the knee line, and that's our new back fold. Going to lengthen it a bit. Yeah. And now we're going to add our back trousers width divided by 4, and either you subtract it by 0.5 to 1 centimeter if you have a very prominent bottom, or you add 0.5 to 1 centimeter if you have a very flat bottom. If you have a normal bottom, you don't need to do anything, which I will do. And in our case, that is 7.8 centimeters that we need to add from the new bottom fold to our crotch. Basically, we are drawing in a line of 7.8. And from this point, we are drawing in an angle of the measurement we have in column number 16, which is 82 degrees. We're drawing in our angle of 82 degrees at the corner down there. I will use my nice line to draw it in. 82 degrees. That's our construction measurement. Now we are drawing in a rectangular line from our new black line that we just drew, this line here, and we're going to draw a rectangular line down here to our hip line at the end. So I'm going to take a rectangle for that because it's easier. You can use your L-shaped ruler for that. So this line here is rectangular to this line that we just drew before. Then we are taking our back trouser width, which is our hip line divided by 4 plus 1, and we're drawing it in. So it is basically 121 in our case divided by 4, and that plus 1, and we have the size of the back of our trousers. And that's 31.25. So this line in total needs to be 31.25 in our case. But you can also check that in the measurement table. Basically we now drew in our measurement 17 back hip width with this line. Now we need to measure the distance in between this point here with our back fold and this point here, which is our new hip line side point. You can do that with your ruler, also doing it with a ruler, simply measuring it. 23.4 centimeters. And that we need to add to the right hand side. So we have measured that, and now we need to measure 23.4 centimeters into the other direction, which is basically to measure. So we lengthen this line, this other rectangular line we can increase a bit until we meet the other line. Yeah, like this. So now we are adding 2 centimeters at each side at the bottom of our trousers. So I'm going to do that on both sides, starting with the knee. Now we've done that. So we're drawing a new line from our knee point up to our new hip point. I'm going to lengthen it. The same happens at the other side from our knee line to this new point that we just drafted, and make it a bit longer. Now we're lengthening our waistline that we earlier drew. And we're taking the bottom point here, and we're measuring from the bottom point to the knee length. It's 63.1 centimeters. And we're doing the same now from the knee point up to our new center back, I would say. And it has to be the same measurements. So 63.1. Here. 6. Well, we need to lengthen that line even a bit. So no problem. Let's lengthen this line a bit. So this line is now lengthened, and I'm going to draw a rectangle of 63.1. And we're holding the ruler until we touch the point on the line. It's easier if you draft that on paper. And now nearly got the point. So here, up here in the corner, there is our new point for our waistline. Finally. And for that, we are going to connect these points here, because that's our new waistline point. Hallelujah. That's our new waistband. That's basically our new hip line. And that's our original crotch line and our knee line. That's our new center bottom here. And that's the new side. So first we're drawing in the center back. for that we are using our measurement number 18, and we have to basically draw in 0.5 centimeter from this new center back line in. Using a rectangle again to help me, 5 millimeters, turning that. So, and we're now drawing our back curve from this point over to the rounding that we already have to this new point here. So we're starting here, going straight down to this point, do it in pink again, or maybe in green so that you see it. So drawing in a new curve. You can do that with your French ruler. It's always a bit trial and error. So, but this looks quite alright. So that's our new back curve. Easy. From this point up here, we need to draw in our measurement number 11 down on this line, which is 26. So we are going to add a line of 26 here. That line is now 26 centimeters. It's the measurement number 11 that we already had from earlier on. And in the middle, we are going to add a dart of 2 centimeters at each side, and the dart will be 13 centimeters deep. We're drawing in the dart parallel to that line here at the side. So they are parallel, and this dot is basically 13 centimeters deep. And we are going to now add 2 centimeters at each side. 1 centimeter at each side, I'm sorry. So 1 centimeter at each side. Here we go. Here's our dart. Nice and even. Then we are now drawing in the side seam that we need to measure from the knee height up to this new point here that we just drew in. And because I am doing it on the computer here, it's a bit trickier for me to measure that side seam. So I have to do it slowly and add it up. So I can do that here more or less. That is 44. Plus 10 is 54, 54.5, 54.5 plus 53, 54.5 plus 53. Yeah, it's around about 60 centimeters at the sideline. So I'm going to move simply the sideline up and see if I hit my desired measurements, and hope I am lucky. So we obviously have to wiggle a bit around to adjust a tiny bit. So to move that over, that point can maybe go a bit deeper. Here we have to hit the point again, and I potentially have to adjust the curve a tiny bit. To do a slight inwards curve here, then going a bit straight to this point and then curving it here again. Then we have to check if that works out, or if we still need to adjust some things. So let's measure. It was around about 60 centimeters. Now up here, we're adding a slight curve so that we have a better fit. Whoop. That line from the back can still stay straight, but on the other one, we simply need a straight and slight curve. And now you need to measure basically this seam here, from the knees up to the crotch, here, and that also needs to be the same measurement. So let's measure. Yeah, 35. So 35, because I have the slight curve that will fit. 20. And here you need to draw in a slight curve. Then it's alright as well. And yeah, that's basically the basic pattern for a pair of trousers. Of course, we need to add one detail. It's the fly at the front. That's it so far. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget the raffle, and if you don't want to miss out on my trousers series, subscribe, hit the bell, and let me know what your questions are.